I was so frustrated because just like you, my clients were dedicated. Yet despite grueling workout sessions and eating clean, their belly fat seemed resistant to our attempts and stubbornly stayed glued to their midsection. This was me, years ago as a young trainer with a degree in exercise science, questioning everything I knew, which led me on a journey to discovering one exercise that is incredibly effective at reducing belly fat, yet wildly underused. Which is why in today's video, I'm going to share this exact exercise and guide you step by step on how to incorporate it into your routine to shed stubborn belly fat. But before we go any further, let's get back to young Gabe and his frustrated clients who were trying to lose the dreaded spare tire. You see, I was baffled because we were doing everything by the book. HIIT training, intense cardio sessions, controlled diets, ab workouts, all things that you have likely tried to lose belly fat as well, which led me to a question. Why is belly fat so hard to lose? And after a little research on the subject, it turns out it's because where our body tends to distribute fat and hang onto it is largely genetic, which is the same reason why some of us lose weight in our chest first, while others lose weight in our hips first and have our jeans falling off our ass. In other words, many folks who struggle to lose belly fat specifically simply have their genetics working against them. But luckily, there's a clear path forward. By maintaining a calorie deficit and consuming fewer calories than you burn daily, you can shed fat. And if you keep at this deficit long enough, you'll even see fat reduction in those stubborn areas influenced by genetics like these clients here. With that said, while your diet should be the primary driver of this calorie deficit, incorporating specific exercises can really accelerate the process and can simplify the task of losing belly fat by creating an even larger calorie deficit. I've coached countless clients over the past 12 years, and as a young trainer, I used to rely heavily on HIIT training and intense cardio sessions for the same reasons that you've likely tried these methods. On paper, these methods look really fucking good because logically speaking, working out at a higher intensity means more calories burned in less time. And that was the exact logic I used early in my career to put the folks I worked with through grueling sessions that I knew would help them lose belly fat. Only they didn't lose belly fat, and I was baffled because in my early 20s, I was staying shredded using HIIT training. At least, I thought it was the HIIT training until one day I noticed that the vast majority of my clients were wearing fitness devices on their wrist, and I developed a theory that would forever change the way I approached helping busy professionals lose stubborn belly fat. You see, I was fully aware that most of the people I worked with had sedentary jobs and didn't move much throughout the day, whereas I was constantly on my feet doing personal training inside of gyms. So one day out of curiosity, I strapped on a fitness tracker, just like the ones my clients wore, and tracked my steps for a week. And to my surprise, I was hitting around 20,000 steps daily without even trying, just moving around from client to client. And I compared this to the step counts my clients were getting, many of whom who were struggling to even get 3,000 steps per day at their sedentary jobs. And this was my light bulb moment. Could the key to losing belly fat be something as simple as walking? Now, I get it, you're probably thinking, Gabe, there's no way walking burns enough calories to tone up my midsection, and I would have said the same thing up until a few years ago when I came across this meta-analysis comparing high-intensity cardio like running or HIIT to lower-intensity options like walking, and it showed that high-intensity workouts don't actually trump lower-intensity ones when it comes to fat loss. Now, for those of you who are still feeling skeptical of the efficacy of walking for losing that stubborn belly fat, here are the numbers to back it. Here's the breakdown. For those of you not aware, the average person walks 3 miles per hour. Let's just say for this example that you're a 200-pound guy. If you made the habit of walking just 30 minutes per day, you would burn roughly 150 calories per half hour. So by the end of the week, that's an extra 1,050 calories. By the end of the year, that's a 54,600 calories burned from walking. And if we know that roughly a 3,500 calorie deficit equals 1 pound of weight lost, that's an extra 15 pounds by the end of the year from walking. And the best part is that because this is such a low intensity exercise, you can use it as a form of active recovery, do it every single day, and still recover for your next strength session. Don't get me wrong, HIIT training does work for some, but the reality is that for many of us, that level of intensity is hard to sustain for more than a few months. So even if you're burning more calories doing HIIT training for 3 to 4 months, but you come to an abrupt stop because you just can't keep up that level of intensity, all that progress will be lost before you get to burning through your belly fat. But walking is so easy that over the long run, you will lose the belly fat because it can easily be incorporated into your daily routine, which makes it more realistic for you to stick with for a long enough time horizon. To put a serious dent in your overall calorie deficit and belly fat, even if you're like me and your blood content is 75% coffee because you have a newborn and are running on 4 hours of sleep. So at this point, I'm hoping that you're at least willing to give daily walking a shot. But if you are wondering where in the hell you're going to squeeze in 30 minutes of walking per day into your schedule, I just want you to take a deep breath because you don't have to do all 30 minutes at once. Now, the most common mistake people make is shooting for 10K steps right off the bat because everybody has an article, blog post, or piece of social media content touting the amazing benefits of 10,000 steps per day. And while this is true, there are great health benefits of hitting 10,000 steps per day, and we do want to get there eventually. We want to be strategic about how we get there so we can form a habit that we actually stick with for good, which is going to keep the belly fat off for good. So here's the game plan I started to use with my one-on-one clients in the gym years ago. Step 1 is to start with a baseline. For the first week, don't change anything. Just wear your fitness tracker or use the health app on your phone and go about your normal routine. This gives you a baseline of how many steps you're currently taking. And if you add up all the steps over the course of 1 week of tracking and divide that number by 7, you'll have yourself a daily average that we will use for step 2, which is to set gradual goals and incorporate walks into your routine. If your baseline is around 3,000 steps a day, aim to increase to 1,000 to 2,000 steps daily for the following week. And once you're comfortable with that increase in step count, bump it up by another 1,000 to 2,000 steps per day, which by the way is roughly 10 to 20 minutes total of walking for the average person. This gradual increase prevents burnout and helps form a lasting habit, which is what we need. Add a walk as a warm-up or part of your cooldown, pace between sets, or even take a walk as you listen in on that shitty virtual meeting about the other meeting you had at work. We've all been there. The key is consistency. So if you can use 10 minutes of your lunch to get some steps in and make it enjoyable by listening to your favorite podcasts, audiobooks, or music while you walk, it makes the time pass faster and you can turn walking into a treat rather than a chore. Step 3 is to use technology to your advantage. Use your fitness tracker or a simple app to keep track of your steps and set reminders to move if you've been inactive for too long. And many apps not only track your steps, but also allow you to set challenges with friends or join community challenges. And this adds a fun, competitive element to your walking. And if you're like me and like to talk to your buddies like I do, it can make things super fun. Lastly, add some novelty to your walks to keep your walking routine from becoming stale. Try new routes, explore different neighborhoods, parks, or trails. The change in scenery will keep your walks interesting. And if you invite a friend or family member to join you, this not only makes the experience more enjoyable, but also commits you to a scheduled time and adds an extra layer of accountability, and therefore makes it more likely that you'll stick to it. And with all these strategies in your back pocket, you'll finally be able to leverage walking to your advantage to lose the belly fat and keep it off for good. Just keep in mind that all of this effort is completely useless though if you don't have your nutrition dialed in, because a calorie deficit is a must to lose unwanted weight. And something as simple as a quarter cup of almonds can wipe out the calorie deficit you created from your half-hour walk. And let's be real, who stops at a quarter cup? With that said, food choice matters a lot. And if you're not sure where to start and need some more guidance on nutrition to accompany your kettlebell training and new walking regimen, check out this video here, and I'll see you on the next one.